this is Lee from Crossaxle, and we're here on a very windy day with the new Suzuki Jimny. Now a lot of people were waiting for this to be launched. I was one, Richard was another. Having owned one of the earlier ones, he was very keen to have a look and see. And what do we think? Well, the styling's good. Looks very much like the first generation, looks a bit like the early Toyotas. It's got that rugged appeal. It's almost what a Defender should look like. So let's have a bit of a walk round and see what we can show you. It's obviously got daytime running lights, which are necessary these days, and some intensely bright headlights. These are good. I've driven it at night round to Oxfordshire country lanes, and trust me, you can see everything with these. Coming around, we've got some lovely alloy wheels. This model comes in at about 18 grand, but it's a great runaround. So we'll go around the outside first and have a look. As I say, it's not particularly long, it's not particularly tall, but it's fairly spacious for what it is. So, got the nice grey alloys, setting it off nicely. Obviously, door mounted spare, and I'll show you why that is in a minute when we get in through the door. Big chunky bumpers, ready for taking those bashes and scrapes and scuffs quite well. And being black, they're not going to chip paint and things as you go through funny country lanes. And again, it's a nice compact profile. A lot of people may not like the box type of design, but I do. One thing I think is great on it, these mirrors. These mirrors are huge, and you can see everything behind you. No problems with those. So, let's have a look at the start of the back of the car. Boot space, well, yeah, it hasn't got much. So, just being nitpicking, this doesn't open to 90 degrees. So from a loading point of view, it could go a bit further, but that's been fussy. We've got quite a step up here, purely because of the design of the shell and the chassis. But you have got a bit of storage in there. Got a tripod in there at the moment, so it's useful space. But what this does very nicely is the seats will fold down with these, adjust the headrest, and it lays flat. We'll do the same with that one. And you've actually got quite a reasonable load area. I reckon we could fit most of the cross-axle gear in there that we use on shooting, including the drone, and still have a bit of space to spare. So, but it's not designed for a big luggage carrier. It's designed as a runaround that's quite good off-road. So, pop the seats back. And let's have a look inside. So inside, it's fairly basic, but it's got everything you need. The seats are comfy. I've done a couple of 100 miles in it in one day recently. Comfy enough. Climate control works well. It's got Apple AirPlay, it's got sat nav, it's got phone connectivity. It's got everything you need in a modern car without too many bells and whistles. It's got a proper transfer box. So many SUVs and four-wheel drives and things that are all electronic now. This has an old-fashioned two-wheel, four-wheel and low-range transfer box, which is a great thing. But I like the design of the dash. I think it works with the car. It's got that rugged look. I love the styling. The styling of this thing just works for me. If I was after a small city run around that was a bit capable and a lot of fun, I think this would be something to aim for. Before I forget, you've also got the USB port, which acts as an input as well as a charger, and of course a normal 12-volt outlet. So electric windows, heated seats, and something I know Richard's a big fan of, cup holders. So it's got something Mercedes is lacking. the old grab rail, which harks back to a lot of the older four-wheel drives and the earlier Suzukis. You know, it's a nice touch, it's useful. There's not a lot you can say about it, but let's have a look at an adult in the back seat. So, I'm just shy of 6 feet, 5'11", so I can get in, put the seat back, and I can actually sit here. Let's raise the headrest. So, I think if you had someone taller in the front, the seat would be a bit further back. But for a reasonable length journey, you know, an adult's probably okay. It's not the most comfortable place to be. You know, the seats are fairly thin, but it's built for a price. It's built for a reason. It's not built as a long-distance cruiser. It's not built as a luxury sedan that holds, you know, executives on long journeys. It's built to throw your kids or your mates in the back for a journey, go out for the day to the beach, have a laugh. That's what it's there for, and it does that very well. I knew where that was. So, here we have 1.5 litres, 100 PS, just over 100 newton meters of torque. It's a cute little petrol engine, but it pulls alright. It drives well, 5-speed box, cruises best on motorways around 60, 65. You know, any more than that sounds like you're thrashing the proverbial off it, but you know, it's comfortable. It's not built as a motorway cruiser, but the engine's got plenty of torque. I have managed to stall it once or twice through my own incompetence, but you know, it pulls fairly well, especially for such a small unit. So yeah, I think it's a good car to have. Would I have one in the fleet? Definitely. It's a lot of fun. It's comfortable. You know, it doesn't really have any main competitors. You've got similar price competitors or cheap ones in the SZ5 range, Dacia and so on, but they're not going to have the heart of this. You know, in 20 years' time, these will still be being bought by enthusiasts and driven around and going on muddy play days and all the rest of it. That's not going to happen with most of its competitors. When it's just body, I don't want to catapulting. So it's a lovely car. I think if you're after something fun, small, that does nearly 40 to the gallon, I think you can go a lot more wrong than one of these.
We haven't been able to do the any off-road testing as we wanted to because the byway we were planning on using has a temporary road closure order on it because of winter. I thought by the 1st of April it would have been open, which would have been fine for testing this a week later, but alas, not. So never mind. It handles well. It doesn't lean, it doesn't pull. Goes in a straight line nicely. Clutch is light enough. The gear change is sensible enough. Yeah, it's got one of these old-fashioned funny lever things. I think it's called a handbrake. It just works. It does what it's supposed to do. Is it everyone's cup of tea? No, of course it's not. Mazda MX-5 isn't everyone's cup of tea. A Mini Cooper's not everyone's cup of tea. Nissan Navara's not everyone's cup of tea. Does this thing have a market? Of course it does, very much so. I really believe it's got a market. And yeah, I think Crossaxle would buy one. Imagine it liveried up with the Crossaxle logo. You know, when we go to coffee and cars meets or pop down to Caffeine and Machine for an event or just a cup of coffee or something. You know, everyone would know who we are. and I think that's a good thing. The turning circle on this thing is phenomenal. I'm not quite talking, you know, radius of a London taxi's turning circle, but it's pretty impressive. I know it's only a short vehicle, 3.4 metres long, nose to tail, but that's a good thing. You know, more manoeuvrability is better, and especially if a lot of these will be city driven. I know they're a four-wheel drive, I know they're capable off-road, a lot will end up in the cities. What do we like about them? I like the touchscreen, works well. Apple CarPlay, always a big fan of. Yeah, it's got some Android connectivity, but I don't have one of them things. So it's good. The aircon works, or climate control works, it's nice, it's got hill descent control, it's got lane departure warning. It's a nice comfy place. The seats, whilst they might not look the plushest or be the snuggest or most luxurious in the world, they're comfy enough. My notoriously bad back is okay in this. Yes, it does wobble a bit if you shake it about, but it's not a high-speed performance car, so it's not going to go around corners on rails. It's going to do what it needs. It needs articulation, so the suspension is set up in a particular way. Driving, 5-speed box Suzuki, please, please, please put a 6th gear in it. I keep reaching for 6th and finding there isn't one. The gearing is very similar to an early Vauxhall Zafira. You just run out of gears. What are you doing, numpty? As for cruising, well, it cruises quite nicely. Top speed, I don't know what the book top speed is, I haven't got that with me, but top speed I'm happy with is about 65. At about 70, the transmission's whining and you're sort of thinking, is someone being strangled, and it's perfectly capable there. You're only at 3,000, 3,500 revs. You know, so you're long off the 6,000 red line, but even so, it's still more of a whine than I'd like. But 6 is a comfortable speed, it sits there quite happily. You know, stick on cruise control. You're going faster than the Arctic, so you can go around them, and everyone else can go around you. It doesn't matter. You're not this isn't a car for long motorway cruises to be fast. The back seats, albeit their sponge looks a bit thin, I think they're sufficient enough for what you need. And I like the styling, the details, the little, you know, it's gone for a rugged look. You know, the way the dials are built, the way this just is like on the dash. You know, the fact you've still got the grab handle we showed earlier. There's all sorts of things I like about it. Well, it's a nice car. Got 18 grand. Want a little run around. Bored of smart cars, Fiat, Toyotas. Get one of these. You'll be pleasantly surprised, and I think sufficiently entertained. Anyway, this has been Lee at Crossaxle. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button, hit that comment button, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.